So, with the best ending done, why don't we go over the other endings? First off, I'd just like to quickly remind you that in order to get the worst endings, you basically have to not get these items like this. In fact, both the C and D endings have you avoid such items. Oh, and of course you have to translate this for the A and B endings, otherwise it's useless, but yes. In fact, if I remember correctly, there's only one difference between getting the C and D endings, and we'll be showing that in just a second.
It is in Latin.
It all comes down to whether or not you save Helen. If you don't save Helen, you get the D ending. If you do save Helen, you get the C one.
Are you all right?
You can also have Helen translate the note. However, if you do that, yeah. I mean, I don't really like Barton that much, but still kind of feel sorry for him in that case. Really not a good way to go. Also, here's another evasion point. Well, nothing can go wrong with this plan. Oh no! Save me, Jennifer! No! Alright, I also didn't really skip too much when I cut away to Helen in the final video. In fact, I pretty much only missed one scene. Now, you can't actually die once you get to this section as far as I know. Even though the scissors can kind of just flip through Jennifer, you won't be killed. And somehow you can get away, and you'll end up in this room. The changes to the castle are kind of weird between Jennifer and Helen's story, but yeah, that's how you get to this room in Jennifer's story. And rather than find Gotts, you find Nolan.
Attacked us, and everyone scattered.
Now this is also more or less optional. I mean, I guess Gotts is sort of almost optional for some endings. I mean, you need to find him if you want to save Jennifer when you're playing as Helen, but Nolan you can just completely skip over. Of course, skipping over him does mean he will be declared dead more or less.
By yourself?
Neither Nolan or Helen can be found dead in Jennifer's story. It's just missing them means that the little survivor rank you get at the end, yeah, you won't get all the survivors. You still get to hear this song, though.
What was that?
You saw them too? I've seen them a few times already.
They keep pointing and laughing at me for some reason.
Killed here.
So many.
Yeah, there are a lot of dead people here. Sure does suck. And of course the last item you need is the dagger. That gets you the A ending. So, as for the endings themselves, let's start with the D ending. Basically, don't get the door spell, don't get the dagger, don't save Helen, and once you get to the bottom of the fountain, hey! We already know you're actually Edward Scissordan. Don't even lie to me.
I found a way out.
You're lying to me, aren't you?
It's over there. Everyone else is already there.
Everyone, even Barton, who you saw dead and hanging from a tree. He's there too. Well, I'm falling for this one. Oh no, he was a ninja! I don't know how to feel about this. And next we have the C ending. This time we actually get to go a little bit farther into this area this time. Edward won't stop us and kill us with something. A throwing invisible needle, I guess? Throwing needle? It's a thing, right? Oh hey, look, it's really Stealthy Kay. She is stealthing so hard right now.
Who are you?
Sidestep. Oh, hi. Hey, what was that for? Rude.
This is the place where many mangled male and female bodies are being found. The search for more corpses still continues.
Hey, someone is still alive. Carry them gently.
Slower, slower. We can't animate too much here. Oh no, it was Edward all along. And of course, for the last ending, either don't get the dagger, or I believe if you just don't use the dagger at the last moment, then you will get the B ending. How come you're A-OK? Weren't you supposed to be distracting Scissor Man? Yeah, really helpful, Nolan. Alright, we can't really do anything here, so, let's throw the book at him. Oh, jeez. Wow, that was a very uncomfortable scream. Criminy. Did he stab her as she was flying into the door, or what? Worst animation in the game in 3, 2, 1. And on the gravestone it said, Jennifer Simpson, saver of Hummins. Anyway, I actually did skip a lot for Helen, and that's because a certain someone is actually a survivor in this story, and I kinda didn't really want to show that scene because it wouldn't have made sense. Also, that scared me all the fucking time when I was playing. Also, in addition, for Helen's story, you actually find this hand in that drawer. Quick, do a jig, get it off! That's probably the weirdest thing I've seen all day. Alright, well, once you're done with that, there's a note here that will tell you about the thing you have to find in the fireplace, which I believe is the door spell. And you can still find the bronze book in here, just like in Jennifer's story. It's in the same place. But of course, the death here, you do have to press the button for a while, and if you don't, just fall over. You also get plenty of time to grab the quill here, though the cursor still flashes, so maybe you're supposed to be led to believe that you can still panic out of this, though. I hope you don't, because if you try doing that, well, you're gonna die. Oh, jeez. I didn't actually notice it before, but it kinda sounds like he pierces her throat. Ugh. I thought he just, like, latched on and immediately choked her somehow, but ugh. That's even worse. Anyway, yeah, it was Harris. Harris is alive in Helen's story. He's slightly less of a jackass, but he's still unnecessarily creepy. Now, here's the thing about survivors. I couldn't get all survivor deaths in the game, so I can't show everything off, and I do apologize for that, but I think some survivors are based on timing. For example, Harris here, you can find his head in the pot. In the basement, both Beth and Tim can be found, well, their blood can be found, in one of the barrels. And then Scissorman will be in their place behind the wine rack. And I believe... Oh yeah, in Jennifer's story, Tim can be found roasting in the fireplace rather than A-OK right in front of the fireplace. And I mean, there's also Gotts and another Beth one that's in Helen's story. Those are activated in different ways, but yeah, I believe these are time-based because I can't find any other way to activate them. I mean, the wiki says you can get Tim's death by clicking on the barrel, but no, it's not like First Fear where you click on one thing or a different thing and that determines whether or not someone will survive. And also, yeah, that's really weird. Harris just disappears. He also gives you a fireplace key, which you don't want to use because, of course, this fireplace still leads to the chapel, and if you go to the chapel through here, then you can't actually save Jennifer, so this actually gets you one of the bad endings. Speaking of which, getting the bad endings kinda depends on two factors. First off, whether or not you got the items, like in Jennifer's story. However, it's more like there are two conditions with two different variants. Also, random earthquake. Basically, whether Jennifer lives or dies, that determines it. You get in C and D endings are determined by not having the items. A and B endings are determined if you do have the items, and then it all just comes down to whether or not you're able to save Jennifer. So for some reason, the worst ending is the ending in which you do actually save Jennifer. This is the C ending, though, so we get to watch Jennifer die.
Jennifer!
Try ramming? No, that didn't work. And he just leaves.
Jennifer!
Damn it, Barton, you don't know how to do this at all. So last time we were able to corner Barton, but if we try going into the torture chamber this time, there's a whole lot of nothing in here. I guess he was able to use the stairs, except in this version of the scenario, the fireplace leads to the other side of the chapel, which doesn't really make sense at all. I don't get it. Don't just stick your face in the thing that's covered in spikes, Helen. That's not a good idea. And when you leave, it seems Jennifer's body's gone. And Scissorman's nowhere to be found. Well, that didn't go well at all. Now, in Jennifer's story, of course, going in here, you can find the door spell by clicking on the ladder. However, this time around, all you really find is a hint. Hooray! Also, she has different reactions to the books, of course. Now is not the time to admire it, because I'm really sad that Jennifer was just murdered right in front of me. It was a hell of a downer, man. None of them stand out. Ugh. What a boring library. This is the worst thing to happen to me in the past 3 minutes. And over here, there is actually something to do here, and it's actually something you need to do. Remember that cosmetic key you get in the box that you had to throw in the fire? That's used right here. And in Helen's version of the scenario, this is where you get the map that you need to figure out that there's a trapdoor beneath the fountain. So this is pretty much how you end this scenario this time around. Also, don't click on the statue in this scenario. Hey, you came from out of nowhere. Don't you lie to me. You also don't have a lot of time to panic out of this. Trust me, I wasn't actually paying attention once, and then he ended up stabbing me, because I clicked on the statue, stopped paying attention, and oh, I'm dead. And I also didn't show this in the last video either, but you can find Beth in Helen's story, and she is one of those trigger deaths that's not one of those mysterious deaths I talked about earlier that I just can't get for the life of me. I swear they're timed. The only proof I can really find to that is some people on GameFAQs forums, which really isn't a reliable source, but at the same time, the stuff on the wiki isn't really correct. Some people also say that Tim will die if you get the genealogy in Jennifer's story. That's not true, because I got the genealogy before visiting Tim every time, and he was alive each time. Other people say it's the dagger that causes him to die, but that's not quite true either. So I'm fairly certain it's either random, which would kind of be unfair, or it's time-based, but I wouldn't know how long it takes, because It must take a while. Oh! Why doesn't he ever do that to Jennifer or Helen? And of course, you can save Beth fairly easily, too.
Scissorman does not
Just
care
talk to
how
her a
many
second
people
time, and she won't want to come with you.
we have a better chance of being rescued if we split up.
Because otherwise he'll cheat. But yes, I will link to the survivor deaths in the description just because I can't show them off myself, but I have seen videos that show them off. I don't think they explain them either, otherwise I probably would know by now. And unfortunately I don't. I tried waiting around, I tried looking at things and activating Scissorman, but no, they had to be alive every time. God, thanks a lot, guys. Anyway, time to start Helen's endings. With Helen having such a bad line reading that it just outright kills Barton. I mean, Barton of all people. If you line read that badly that it kills him, you know you're doing something wrong.
All right, Teach. She's okay.
Yeah, I kinda noticed. She went fairly
The murder
unstabbed.
was Professor Barton.
Helen,
Teach, I know you're in shock, but you are alive.
You made it through this game of murder alive?
That's something to be happy about, ain't it?
Yes, you're probably right.
And of course, Scissorman probably kills them later, but there's no cutscene after that, it just goes straight to credits. So this is the C ending, where you let Jennifer die, and you don't have the door spell, or actually no, it's just the door
Professor
spell in
Barton.
this scenario.
Oh, Helen, I found something very important.
It's a vague important thing, but it's important
Scissorman's
nonetheless.
secret was hidden here.
Did you find it?
Yes, and with this we can probably destroy Scissorman.
Man, both Jennifer and Helen are
It's
suckers.
back there. Take a look.
Inside a book reading Rainbow.
Okay.
Alright, I'll fall for this. Oh no! Barton just rocked the place! Place. Both he and Harris have that stupid condescending head shake, and I hate it. Hey, Gotts. I didn't really know Helen too well myself, but I figured I'd visit her grave. You know, just out of respect. Hey, how's it going? You, like how he just stands there till you talk to him.
I didn't think you'd get this far, Helen.
Edward? That is Edward's voice? You're the murderer?
Let's play, Helen.
So yes, that is actually the only twist we get. I think it's kind of neat how, in Helen's story, the big twist is that it's Edward. Because you notice, they kind of go out of their way to hide that, unlike in Jennifer's story where both of the bad endings before ending B, they're both fine with just showing you, oh yeah, it was actually Edward all along, but the real twist is that it was actually Dan who had revived after the first game.
Show me the way.
Here, though, they actually try to hide the fact that it's Edward until the very end, which is kind of weird because it seems like you're supposed to play as Jennifer first. I mean, as I said before, it seems like it leads you into playing as Jennifer just because of the way the game's set up, and of course her E ending rather comes first. But it does make sense that she wouldn't get that part of it, because, you know, we're gonna apply her him. Oh, well, that didn't work. But yeah, makes sense because she doesn't actually know who Dan is, so it would be kind of meaningless for her.
The search for more corpses still continues.
Wait, he was sucked into another dimension. Do you need a blood sacrifice to get out of there or something, and that's why it's a bad thing if we get sucked in, or what? Because If he can just get out normally, then this is kind of pointless. And of course, the best ending is the one where you get all the items and save Jennifer. Now, we don't actually have a dagger, so the game will pretty much just rescue you on its own, because Gotts is here to help. I guess the difference here is that because Jennifer didn't die, Helen still has the strength to go on, where if Jennifer was killed, she just doesn't have the strength left to hold onto the railing and then gets dragged into the door by Scissor Man. I mean, that's the only way I can make sense of it. Because, I mean, Gotts is here no matter what, and he's always got that gun, so it's not any difference there. I guess it's just Helen and whether or not she still has the desire to live. And the A ending, Jennifer is still the one trapped under the house for some reason, and I don't know why. Should probably be Helen, given she was underground and Jennifer wasn't.
I am certain Jennifer is still alive.
Nod, nod,
Hey,
nod, nod.
Someone's there.
Jennifer?
Helen?
Hey, Nolan
Jennifer,
isn't
you're
there this
alive.
time.
Helen! Helen!
But that's just about it for Scenario 3. I've more or less shown off everything, again, other than the survivor deaths I couldn't find. Really don't know how to get those, because it doesn't seem like anyone knows. Anyway, let's just go over some menu stuff. First off, we have the ending list. It'll show you what endings you've cleared, and also, if you go to a certain ending, you can actually watch it. I'm not going to do that, of course. However, the thing is, you can only watch cinematics. So, for example, if I try to do the D ending, that doesn't actually have an FMV cutscene, whereas this ending D does, or... yeah, ending C, rather. So yeah, you can only watch the FMV parts, so there's that. Next off, we have the pamphlets, which allows you to look at the hints you got throughout the game. I didn't show all of them off, so I'm just going to go over their locations really quick. First off, you have the one in the prologue, which you can find in the filing cabinet. Then there's Jennifer's Scenario 1. I believe one of them is in the storage room in one of the boxes. And also there's one in the women's lounge, which is kind of hard to find just because you never actually have to go up there. But yeah, that's where hint 3 is. It's in the dresser that's right by the door. Next off, there are the ones in Helen's Scenario. There's one in the desk in the treatment room, and also the one I had trouble finding, which was hint 5. That was actually outside that room with the big table and the lockers and the fax machine and all that. It's the tiny little table with a plant on it, rather than the one in the other office. Next off, the one in Nolan's Scenario 2. Shove that one off, it's hint 6, it's in the fireplace. After that, hint 7 for Helen's Scenario 2. I believe it's in one of the gears at the top of the library. After that, Gotts Scenario 2, which is in the kitchen on one of the cabinets. Hint 9, which is on the table in the room where you come out of the fireplace. And lastly, hint 10, which is in Helen's Scenario 3. I believe it's... oh yeah, I found that one. It's on top of the ladder. Some of these are more useful than others. There's that one that mentions how there's an item you need to pick up in Scenario 1, which is good to know, given otherwise you always get one of the bad endings, so there's that. Then there are hints like this, which really aren't that helpful. I mean, it's a pretty easy puzzle. This one doesn't help at all, because it just trails off. And she runs out onto the 2-floor terrace. If you click on and then it doesn't tell you anything, that is not a hint at all. Hey, guess what? In this point-and-click game, there's a thing you can click on. Oh, thanks for that. Also, that's a little over-dramatic. Oh, you have to do something fairly drastic. You just have to throw it in fire, which I guess isn't the first thing I'd think of. Next off, we have the backstory, which is basically the story of First Fear, except kind of badly told. I didn't actually go over this, and because I think there's accidentally a sort of thing that might be interpreted as a spoiler, I'll point it out when it comes up, but I just didn't want to risk it. They were not normal and were evil. Yeah, right here, it says they were given the names Bobby and Dan, and they would later grow up to be the Scissor Men. And of course, there was only one Scissor Man in First Fear, so I thought, oh, that could accidentally spoil the fact that Dan would eventually become the Scissor Man. Speaking of Dan, by the way, I believe in the PlayStation version, or maybe it was that scrapped Sega Saturn version, I forget, but there's actually a cutscene in which, after you burn Dan and enter the door that leads to the elevator, it'll actually pan to Dan. A little boy will rise from the ashes of Dan's remains, and that's a hint for this game. Here's the sound test. There aren't that many songs in this game, and for some reason the emulator does not like the sound test. It's really bad audio quality, actually, so I'm just gonna skip through this. Little John from the Castle and Gotts Extra are songs you didn't actually hear in the game all that much, so I will put them at the end of this video, because the quality here is terrible. Gotts is a weird quote-unquote song. In fact, it's more of just, like, outtakes of line readings with Gotts humming over them for some reason. And here we have settings. Now, by the way, the pamphlet thing, the settings in the sound test, they don't actually unlock unless you beat one of the stories with all the survivors alive. It can be either Jennifer or Helen, but it has to be the A ending, of course, because otherwise you get survivor unidentified, and it doesn't really count. So, yeah, you do have to rescue everyone and get A, ending A. But yes, here you get some concept art. It's all areas in the game, and some concept art of the characters, though. It's really not that much for characters. It's just a few designs here and there. I do like the settings artwork. This actually looks really nice. Like, the shading on these are pretty good. I'll be honest, I kind of wish this game would be remade and kind of look sort of like this. I mean, obviously it's just a sketch, so it doesn't look fantastic, but I like the art quality. It's pretty good. And yeah, it goes over pretty much every room. Also, it should go without saying, but I've got no idea what that Japanese says. It's probably just little details, of course, but I'm mildly interested in knowing. Also, a little interesting bit right there, but it actually seems like there wasn't supposed to be a doorway between the stairway area and the living room. But they probably had to add that in due to loading times. Also, a bit of an interesting thing to note. You can actually go out onto the veranda. I'll show that off in a little bit, but there's really no reason to go up there. I don't think there's actually an evasion point as far as I know, and it doesn't actually lead anywhere, so it's kind of useless. And of course, it doesn't have as nice as a view as the drawing, so That's a bit unfortunate, but whatever. Kinda wish there was a picture of Scissor Man standing up there, just pretending to be a statue. Seriously, I really like how they did the shading. Obviously, the lighting isn't that good in-game. I mean, it is a PS1 game and all, but would like to see this game remade, except, not terrible. It would be nice to see this game be less terrible. I mean, first... I can't believe they actually drew that. Scissor Man just about to walk off the ledge like an idiot. But yeah, I do wish they'd remake this game. First Fear was pretty good on its own. I mean, there was supposed to be a fan remake of that a while back. It was called Remothered. It's kind of its own thing now, but even then, I wasn't really interested in it back in the day. I mean, I don't want to call it trying too hard, but if you want, look up Remothered Shower Scene or something like that. It's that game's version of the shower scene, and it's kind of unnecessarily gory, and seemed like it also would have been kind of cutscene heavy, which is kind of the exact opposite of how First Fear went. But that's a whole different thing. Oh, actually, speaking of stuff that's not this game, there is actually, I believe some of the original makers of the game are actually working on a small project called Project Scissors, which is supposed to be a sort of return to this sort of survival horror game, which is pretty nice. It's good to see the director still wants to do something. I think it's going to be for mobile and Vita, unfortunately, but actually, if it's for iOS, I could get it, I guess. I mean, personally, I'd want to see it on PC or something, but whatever, I'll take what I can get. But I do hope that works out, because would like to see more games like Clock Tower. It's one of my favorite concepts for survival horror, as I've said many, many a time. Also, that room looks a lot fancier from a distance, jeez. But yeah, look up Project Scissors. There's not much information on it at the moment, of course. I think it was announced only fairly recently, and not much has come out about development, so it's pretty much left at that for the time being. And here's some character art. There's not much of it, though. Jennifer pretty much gets the most concept art here. Here are actual designs, and here are some other designs. Jennifer looks kind of sassy in these pictures. Why couldn't we have gotten that in-game? I mean, no one in this game really has a personality, and we could have had sassy Jennifer, but no. Also, Helen went through a lot of different redesigns, like, that one on the left here, that one looks way different. I mean, geez. Kinda glad we went with the one we went with, though. But yeah, Jennifer and Helen are pretty much the only ones with all that much concept art. The rest of them, it's pretty much just their default outfits and maybe something different. Also, yeah, the girl at the library, she actually had a name, and apparently her hair was longer in the concept art. It's kind of weird. Kind of weird that it was never mentioned in-game. Also, that's what Rose looked like. Not that you'd ever really know. The one time you ever see her, she's cut up really horribly. Also, here's Tim and Rick, all the way back here for no reason. Guess they were just added at last second or something. Also, Scissor Man looks really weird when he's not hunched over and limping. And that's it for concept art, but believe it or not, there's actually one more thing to show off. If you press start on the second player controller after having beaten the game as both Jennifer and Helen A ending, you can actually get alternate costumes for the characters you're playing as. Barton here gets a nice brown jacket, which I gotta admit, actually looks pretty good on him.
Are fascinating research material for me.
Not sure about the green scarf, though.
I must know the truth of what happened.
She can't take any more of this today, Professor. I'm taking her home.
All right. But remember one thing, Helen. You may be her guardian, but you are also my assistant.
Yes, Professor.
And for Jennifer's first alternate outfit, she gets what is apparently a waitress outfit for some reason. I really don't know why. Her alternate outfits kind of suck, to be completely honest. Kind of wish she had some sort of version of her outfit from the first game. I mean, it really wouldn't have been difficult. Her outfit was fairly simply designed in the first game. It's just, a purple skirt with straps on it for some reason and a white shirt. It's easy. But no, for some reason they went with waitress. Also, favorite scene in the game again.
Help! Someone is following me.
Some kind of weirdo. Oh, he's dead. Also, Scissorman also gets an outfit change, but he just wears black instead of blue, which is a bit of a shame. Again, I kind of wish they went with First Fear Scissorman. That would have been pretty neat. Then again, maybe they didn't want to bother modeling that, but I think it would have been pretty cool. Just have him go around looking sort of almost like First Fear Bobby. Also, because I wasn't able to get footage of this beforehand, so you can grab this broom when he's trying to kill you. Jennifer? I'm pretty sure you came in. Oh! Well, I guess I'm just gonna lay here for a while. Perfect place to puke, too. Next off, we have Nolan's alternate outfit, which doesn't look too bad. Brown's not a bad color for him. It's just not too different from his normal outfit, but then again, seeing they gave Jennifer a waitress outfit for some reason, I guess it's good. Who knows what they could have given Nolan? And I really am asking that question. That's not rhetorical. I don't know what they actually would have given him. The choices seem a bit far out. Really shouldn't have been standing there. Come on, he was practically asking for it, man. If only he were savvy, he might have made it through the game. Through this death, anyway. Probably still would have been killed by the dog, because who could have seen that one coming? Also, something I was trying to test out, I wanted to see whether or not you could sort of hear Scissorman coming and determine whether or not he was hiding there. You can sort of hear his scissors, right? No, he was still under there. So I'm not quite sure how that works. I guess it's just random and there's no real way to tell, but, to actually try. Oh yeah, and here's Jennifer's last outfit. It's, I think it's called a Solar Fuku or something like that. Again, why didn't they just go with the original outfit? I think it would have been a good idea. I mean, I guess playing off nostalgia wasn't as big a thing back in the day, but don't know why they went with this instead. I mean, it's kind of close to her original outfit. Just would have needed a slightly longer skirt and would have needed to be purple, but again, simple design, would have been easy to do. Would have been much easier to do than, say, give Scissorman in this game a First Fear Scissorman outfit or skin change or whatever. Whatever the kids these days call it. Also, I like how his outfit turned blue when he took it off. We're too lazy to change that. But yeah, Scissorman still wears black here. Alright, so Helen's alternate costume is actually pretty good for both Scenario 1, and if you do the Library Scenario 2, she also wears this outfit there. She actually didn't have a bad first outfit, actually. I mean, pink could have been a bad color, but it was a good pink, so that one was pretty good. But I also like this one. I mean, maybe I would have gone with a lighter shirt color, because, she's wearing all black, but then again, I guess she did inadvertently dress for this. She dressed fairly well, because now she'll blend into the darkness. No, that doesn't actually happen. You don't get any sort of bonus for wearing this. Would have been kind of neat. Though then again, it might have been a little overly complicated for a PS1 game. Later Clock Tower games, I believe, did do that. At the very least, I'm pretty sure Haunting Grounds did, where you get a certain outfit and it might actually have different effects other than, your normal outfit, depending on whether or not you wear it. Like, I think there was a Dominatrix outfit in that game for some reason, but it actually came with a whip so you could attack people. So that was actually a bit of a change. Here, though, no, it's just a random outfit you can get. And the game never actually tells you can change outfits, by the way. There's nothing that comes up that says, hey, if you press start button on player 2's controller when you start up the game, you can wear different costumes. It changes absolutely nothing. Next off, of course, is Gotts. And he's wearing his Cool Kids shirt. Might just look like an ordinary shirt now, but oh no, it is actually too cool for school. See, he's got kanji on the back, or at least I think that's kanji, right? I'm actually not sure, to be honest. I'm not really good with foreign languages of any sort, but yeah, I'm fairly certain no matter what, Gotts just picked that out because it looked cool. He doesn't know what it means. I don't know what it means. Actually, would kind of know what that means. It's probably just random words, because that's usually how it works out, but hey, I'm still interested in knowing what it says anyway, just out of curiosity. Don't want to deal with that shit. But yeah, again, it's pretty cool. I guess it's kind of similar to Helen since he's wearing all black. Also, I'd just like to point out that we are playing a game that takes place in Norway. We're currently playing as a cop that kind of seems like a cop out of some American sort of media thing. And of course he's got the shirt with Japanese letters on the back. So it's all sorts of messes of different cultures. It's kind of weird, actually. Gotts, I don't even understand you at all. Also, again, you can hear his scissors, but this time it was safe. Maybe they were slightly louder this time, I don't know. And as I said before, you can actually go out on the veranda. Again, this serves absolutely no purpose whatsoever. Maybe it's actually a hiding place, I don't know. There's something you can click on over there, but it's useless. So for Helen's final alternate costume... Oh, that... Okay, that is a very bright orange. Jeez.
Oh, yes.
Oh god, that yellow isn't good either. Criminy. Is it just me, or is this costume really gaudy? I mean, come on, man. Those are some bright colors. I would not be wearing that to this sort of thing. I guess the orange is kind of fitting for Halloween, though, so happy Halloween. I guess, though, there is one last thing we can do. There is one vision point I didn't actually show off, so before I actually play the music that we didn't get to hear before, why don't we have a little more Scissorman silliness just to end this off? Wait, hold on a sec, I gotta stare at the wall real quick. Okay, now I'm ready. Oh, Helen? This seems mighty familiar. Oh no, not again! Oh, why can't I ever get used to this?
Appearing a while back. They must be the ghosts of children who were killed here.
What's your voice?
They started appearing.
I wonder how many days we've been trapped down here. We're pretty tough. You know that?
Tough? You're just a wimp. Just a wimp. なるほど、こういうことなんだ。
すごいでしょ。簡単にできるのが怖いよ。